Hello, Ralph Edwards, and this is Your Life. Now, what you see behind me is a film of Flight 2 from Saigon, South Vietnam, arriving at International Airport in Los Angeles just a few hours ago. Among those on that plane is a dedicated young man who once said, "It just seemed to be the natural thing for me to help as many kids as I could." Well, we're going to surprise this young man and reintroduce him to some of the people who have touched his life. He's had time for a good rest, and now I'm on my way to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel to surprise him. I promise you a fascinating, interesting, and heartwarming This Is Your Life, so hang on.
This Is Your Life, an American tradition with Ralph Edwards, is brought to you by Lever Brothers, makers of Dove, the beauty bar with 1/4 cleansing cream. Dove creams your skin as you wash.
You can touch it and feel the difference. Dove leaves your face smooth. It keeps the moisture in and it leaves it soft. If I used the other soap, my face would feel dry and sometimes dry to the point of being flaky. And with the Dove, it isn't. I don't even think it should be called soap. It's more cream.
Dove is 1/4 cleansing cream. It simply can't dry your skin the way soap can.
I have a 3-year-old child, and I think my cheeks feel as smooth as her skin.
Go on. Let him touch it. I used to hate to let anyone touch my hair. It felt so dry and awful. Then I discovered Twice as Nice. It's a very special shampoo. Know what's in it? Corn oil. There's corn oil in the conditioner. Nothing synthetic. Wholesome, natural corn oil. That's why it makes my hair look so soft and shiny and feel so healthy. Try Twice as Nice. It's fabulous.
You're looking at the side entrance of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. We've given our young man who arrived in Los Angeles from Saigon several hours ago time for a rest from his long flight. He's going to be coming out of that entrance any second now, accompanied by a friend of his who's been keeping him under control. There he is now. His name is Dick Hughes. He's 28 years old, comes originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In looking at his face, could you construct his story? Could you imagine what sights he's seen, what other eyes he's looked into? Could you believe that he's totally committed to a cause that keeps him far from his homeland? With him is his friend, Bob McCauley, president of one of the giant corporations of the United States. We'll meet him later. Now, let's zero in on all of this. I'm in the car, which you will see driving up to the entrance of the hotel, and which our surprised guest, Dick Hughes, thinks is taking him to a television interview. Well, that interview is going to start right now.
Ralph Edwards.
Hello, Bob. How are you? Good to see you.
Dick Hughes. Ralph Edwards.
Oh, Dick. I'm glad to see you. You've been in South Vietnam for over 3 years now, so you may not know that I'm back doing This Is Your Life on the air. Yeah. Well, through Bob McCauley, his help, and through an enormous amount of research and connivance, which has been going on for several weeks, you're really here in Los Angeles so that I can say to you, Richard Hughes, this is your life.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. This is on the level. Now, let's go back to our This Is Your Life Theater, where, Dick, we will reconstruct the story of a young college graduate who single-handedly has brought light and life to an otherwise overlooked group of Saigon street youths, the Wanderers, who now proudly bear the name Shoeshine Boys Incorporated. Well, come on, Bob McCauley, you big pal of this guy here. You get a hold of him, and I'll get a hold of him. We'll take him in the limo. How about that, huh? Come on, right on in.
What's Alnita Dunn doing for her dry skin?
I had very dry skin. I'm sure that it was very dry because I couldn't use any type of soap on it. Now with the Dove, I just wash it with soap and water, and it never feels dry afterwards. The Dove cleans your face entirely without the use of creams. It is the truth. I mean, you're looking at me. Your expression.
It is true. Dove is 1/4 cleansing cream. It simply can't dry your skin the way soap can.
I just don't have to use the cream with the Dove anymore.
And here they are, Ralph Edwards and our very special guest, Richard Hughes.
There will be a gang for the sit down, my friend. Oh, Dick Hughes. They say Richard or Dick? You say Dick mostly, don't you?
Dick.
You're 25 years old in 1968 when you go to Saigon, South Vietnam, as an accredited journalist. As a matter of fact, your agency, Dispatch News Service, is one of the first to break the story of the My Lai massacre. In the midst of war, you find yourself haunted by the faces of children, little homeless street children, victims of the war. Now, when you first find them, Dick, how are these young people surviving, these kids?
Well, they're living in Saigon, which is a large city, a large metropolis with public transportation. They're living outside in the streets, sleeping in the streets, trying to get money for eating, standing outside movie theaters, trying to shine shoes for Americans, and trying to get through every day.
Some of them were pickpockets, some of them steal.
Oh, yes, some of them, even some of the very, very small ones, to survive, have had to get money to eat, and they've worked at shining shoes, watching cars, washing cars. Sometimes they stole, sometimes they went to jail, sometimes they came out. And I met them first because they spoke English.
Well, the day after you arrive, you hock your watch to feed 2 of these wandering children, as the Vietnamese call them. You even use your hotel room as a place for the boys to sleep, eat an occasional meal, and store the shoeshine kits they use to earn the few pennies a day necessary to keep them alive.
For Dick, what began as a simple act of charity soon became a full-time project. There are now 4 hostels in Saigon and 1 in Da Nang, housing over 150 boys.
Well, that's the voice of a girl you met in Saigon in the summer of 1970. Currently a student at the University of California, Berkeley, your good friend, Miss Trang Tuan Nhu. Miss Nhu! Sit down, Dick, and Miss Nhu. Miss Nhu, while visiting your relatives in Saigon, you were asked by a mutual friend to look Dick up. Now, what kind of reaction did you have when you met him?
Well, on one of those days, one of the boys died, and I remember how deep and personally Dick took it. It's in Vietnam, where death is such an everyday occurrence. It's hard to believe that you were still not inured to that sort of thing.
And yet, in spite of this, or maybe because of it, Dick, you continue to work and struggle to raise money to help the children. Now, Dick himself had been living in one of the hostels, Miss Nhu?
Yes. A lot of people think he's a little crazy, this mad American living among a bunch of street kids in a Vietnamese neighborhood, eating rice and vegetables when you could be living in a sanitized American community.
Well, the hostels are bare and furnished with a few tables found in junkyards, but at least the boys have a place to call home, rather than beg, steal, be arrested, beaten, thrown in prison. Miss Nhu, thank you very much. You'll see Dick later. Well, we got a few more surprises.
No.
It's only natural that you, Dick Hughes, turn to the aid of your fellow human beings, the shoeshine boys of the streets of Saigon. For at the age of 12, you were already active in charitable work. That summer, for the Immaculate Conception Church in Madison on the Lake Ohio, you did something about a concert. What was that?
Well, I held a carnival. I organized all the poor young boys from the city who came to our summer cottage to swim. I towed them all in and made them run the carnival so that we could raise funds for the church.
What'd you do with the money you collected?
It was given over to the Immaculate Conception Church as a regular donation to the church.
About $14, I think it was. Something like that. For Father John Mulholland. Unknown to you, you've taken your first step on the road that will lead you to Vietnam.
He was a gentle, sensitive boy, sort of a saint. He always called me the director.
No need to tell you who that is. Your mother and father, Virginia and James Hughes from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sit down, Dick. Well, now, what was that you said about Dick calling you the director, Mr. Hughes?
One time I was director of lands and buildings in the city of Pittsburgh, and he started to call me director. He still does.
That might also have something to do with the fact that you're also, quote, the director, unquote, of a rather large, happy family. Miss Hughes, just how many children do you have?
Well, 7 all told. The oldest, Liz, then Joe, Jim Jr., Dick here, Dave, Ginny Jr., Dan. It's 5 boys and 2 girls, and being members of a very staunch Catholic Irish family, one night at the dinner table, I said, you know, I think we really ought to have a priest in this group of at least 5 sons. And Dick immediately stood up and said, I'm going to be a priest.
Well, during that same period, you joined the Boy Scouts, Dick, and climbed to the high rank of Eagle Scout. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, I don't mind telling you that I'm very proud of Dick. I was committee chairman of Troop 19. He was a patrol leader.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was the editor of the Troop magazine and on the staff at the Scout camp in Pennsylvania, tying us to it.
Mr. and Ms. Hughes, thank you very much. After you graduate from high school, you enter Duquesne University to pursue your studies for the priesthood. Then after a year, your life's course changes, and you transfer to Carnegie Mellon University, where you enroll in the drama department. Next, you do graduate work in theater and speech at Boston University. In 1967, while acting in the university's production of The Mad Woman of Chaillot, you meet a girl.
Dick and I often spoke of the war in Vietnam. He felt that as an actor, he wasn't doing anything to alleviate the situation or help in any way.
Your friend from New York City, Lucy Goodell. Now, when you met Dick at Boston University, he was not only acting, but directing as well, wasn't he, Lucy?
Well, yes, that's true, but it became more increasingly difficult to do either. And I remember that Dick often quoted Eugene O'Neill, a statement he made on World War I. O'Neill said that as an artist, he could no longer create in an atmosphere tenable to a global conflict.
Well, you felt the same way about Vietnam, Dick?
Yes, I think it was getting increasingly difficult to resolve the situation, being so far away from it. And so I felt that perhaps the best thing to do was to go right where this event was happening and see if I could do something.
So you head for Vietnam to seek the truth for yourself?
Yes. Well, Dick is a very dedicated and compassionate man, and he never does anything halfway. So that when he went to Vietnam and he discovered the street children, it was inevitable that he would become involved. And when he does, that's 100% of himself.
And it's this 100% dedication to the things you believe in, Dick, that leads you to make a momentous decision that will affect your life and the lives of many other people in the years to come. Thank you, Lucy Goodell.
Thank you.
You surprised to see me? In 1968, Dick Hughes, you applied to your draft board for a conscientious objector status based on personal, moral, and philosophical grounds. And it is while your classification is being reviewed, you go to Vietnam.
Dick went to Vietnam via San Francisco and stayed with me.
Yes, the voice, of course, belongs to someone very dear to you. From London, England, your sister, Elizabeth Liz Hughes. Now, what happened when Dick got to San Francisco there, Liz?
Well, I was teaching at the time, and he stayed with me for 3 weeks trying to get money to go make his passage to Vietnam. So.
Right. Did he tell you what he planned to do once he got there?
Well, not exactly. He wanted to go over there and see what was happening, and he was so caught up with what was going on, the inhumanity of war, that he felt he had to do something to relieve suffering, and You didn't really know whether it would be children or what. I mean, you didn't.
Well, from the time you arrived in Vietnam, Dick, you keep a diary. An entry dated July 1968 reads, "I care so deeply for each last one of them. They're gallant and good, and I cannot fathom where all their love had gone before I came."
Yeah, Dickie was always conscious of other people's needs.
Thank you, Liz Hughes, sister. You'll see him later, too. The number of boys in your care is increasing every day. You take them out of jails, off the streets, and give them a home, love, respect, and hope. Each is given a wooden box, a little polish, part of a rag, and a brush, and during the day they shine shoes, but the few pennies they earn isn't nearly enough to keep them, is it? What, then, is the purpose of the shoe-shine boxes, Dick?
Well, the shoe-shine boxes used by the boys on the streets is to make their living, to survive. And they're initially, we help the boys out in this to gain their, give them some recognition, gain their confidence, so that we can begin to form for them when they come back from shining shoes some sort of family.
Right.
And with that family, we can begin to make some sort of change with the kids.
It takes something like $35 per month per boy to keep them in the bare essentials. You, Dick Hughes, are forced to daily beg funds of friends, other charities, shopkeepers, and large corporations. They're working hard, but what you do is helping to keep the boys alive.
I remember Dick writing, "For 7 months I have been the boys' unsuspecting student. They wanted to know how much I was willing to give."
Flown here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to add to your surprise, your brother Joe. Joe Hughes. Dick, you correspond with Joe all the time, don't you?
Yes, he's helping me now and done some of the printing of booklets and things. And
you write?
I remember recalling from one of Dick's letters who's saying that how much the kids were pushovers for love, a genuine, honest affection, and that he could get to them by allowing a good hug.
In the beginning, when you're working entirely alone, you write in your diary, "What in God's name will happen to all their needs that I flushed out? How will they look at me if I leave them? How can I ever do anything again without their haunting memory? Their days and nights with nobody, absolutely nobody."
And then Gloria Emerson in August of 1970 did a story in the New York Times about Dick and his work.
Yes, and with that column, the picture changes. Joe Hughes, thank you especially for allowing us to read portions of Dick's letters to you. Thank you. Now, two men, Fred Jackson of the New Yorker magazine and Robert McCauley, vice president of the Great Northern Paper Company, the man who we met earlier with you, your old pal, Bob.
That's my old.
Read the article and write to you offering contributions. And here is one of the men who provided you with the key to expanding your operation. Your very good friend and president of the Shoeshine Boys Foundation, 522 Fifth Avenue, New York City, Mr. Robert McCauley.
You'll never touch me again.
I tell you, that was, sit over close here. So that was some take on him in front of the Beverly Wilshire over there when he found out he was to be on this.
I just said he'd never touch me again.
Never, you know. When you get a wire over there that says, come back here, you're going to be on some show or some tricky thing, you won't believe it. Well, now, the money you and Fred Jackson raise, all of it, goes to help the homeless children that Dick cares for. Is that right, Robert?
Yeah, we started a foundation about a year ago in New York, and I'm happy to say that all of the contributions are completely voluntary, and every penny that comes in goes to the kids in Vietnam. There are no fundraising charges, there's nothing else. It's all for children.
Their clothes and food and all that?
Well, Dick gives them shelter, he gives them clothes, he gives them medical care.
I understand he has high school tutors in there now. Is that right, Dick?
Yeah. There's about 16 high school and university-age students who come in, help to tutor them, talk to them, spend time with them, listen to their problems.
How did you get them interested in? Did you go to them too?
I brought them in and into the house, and they saw the boys. They saw kids who were very unhappy and who were in a crisis.
How is the foundation funded, Dick? The Shoeshine Boys Foundation.
It's completely funded through donations that have come from people in America, through the articles and and newspapers and things. People have sent it to the address 522 Fifth Avenue, where they, and it was then used, all of it, to help the boys to go to school.
Actually,
along, Bob.
Actually, Dick and I go begging every day. I guess that's a main part of our mission. Yeah. We've received a lot of help from a lot of people, but our need is still desperate, really desperate.
Now, Dick, you're taking care of 157 boys now. How many street children are there in Saigon?
I think nobody really knows, but if you were taking a estimate from the immediate downtown area of Saigon, you may be talking about 30,000, 40,000 children just in Saigon. And then you take 5, 6, 7 other large cities, you've got thousands of children wandering through Vietnam.
We hope you get a lot of help. Thank you very much, Mr. Robert McCauley, for what you're doing. How you doing, man? Good. Dick Hughes, you have an admirer in the United Nations. From the United Nations building in New York City, the head of the United States delegation, Ambassador George Bush.
Well, you and I have never met, Dick. I should tell you that I've been inspired by the work that you and the Shoeshine Boys Foundation have done, the work you are doing, without regard to race, without regard to creed, without regard to color. And really, this is what the United Nations is all about. And so I hope that this inspirational work will continue, that it can be expanded, because in the way I look at things, you are truly working for a world at peace.
Thank you, Ambassador George Bush. Well, Dick, here is your past. You're headed now for a reunion at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel where everyone's been staying. And joining you at that reunion will be your sister, Ginny, your brothers, Jim, Dave, and Danny, and your sister-in-law, Peggy. Hey, get up here. Now, you kids, the whole family hasn't been together as a family in 8 years. It'll be the first time they've all been together at one time in 8 years. You return now to Vietnam. You're involved in a very worthwhile cause. Is there anything you would like to say to young people about their involvement in causes?
Yeah, I think what I did was done out of instinct, and I think what they should do is follow their instinct and go ahead and do it. It will work out. People will support. People who care about them will support them, and they will grow from their relationship to the people they're helping. Go ahead and do it. Don't think about it. Just move. Go ahead, and it'll work out.
I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say our hearts and prayers, and I hope help for what you're doing, go with you. For Dick Hughes, this is your life. Thank you.
This Is Your Life has been brought to you by Twice as Nice, shampoo and conditioner in one. Now you can do a thing with your hair. Additional promotional funds provided by Vega Camback Wagon with bucket seats and front disc brakes. It handles like a little sports car. Vega from Chevrolet, building a better way to see the USA. I'm Bob Warren. This Is Your Life is a Ralph Edwards production.